So good day everyone, this will be on start of another video where we'll be talking about fundamentals of badminton. So to start, we would first need to learn how to hold our racket or how to grip the rackets. So before we start, let's first talk about the two main types of attack in the badminton, which is the forehand and the backhand. Forehand is when your palm is facing forward when attacking, and backhand is when it's the back of the palm that is facing forward when attacking. Now, when it comes to the grip, it also differs mainly in the positioning of the fingers of your hand. But first of all, the basic way of holding a racket is simply by feeling or acting like you are shaking a friendly hand, or like doing a friendly handshake. Like that, hold. But the main difference comes here now, in which finger should be in control. So for the forehand stroke, it should be the index finger that should be in control. So when you hold it, act like you are having handshake and have your index finger in control. Now why the index finger? Because the index finger will serve as the main finger that will push the racket whenever you are now starting to attack. See this here? It's the index finger that is in control. It is the finger that would push the racket to attack. Now, for the backhand stroke, it would be the thumb. Why the thumb? Because in the backhand stroke, the positioning of your hand is opposite of the forehand stroke. In the forehand stroke, it's like that, the palm facing forward, where in the backhand, the palm will be facing backward. So if you still have your index finger in control, your stroke wouldn't be as strong as it should be. So you should have your thumb, which is precisely at the back of the racket, to be in control. So I'll rotate so that you can see. You have to act like you are having a friendly handshake, and then there you have it. Simple as that. The thumb is in control. So you will now be able to have a stronger and more efficient grip for your stroke. See the difference? It's still stronger. Well, you'll feel it if you actually try it. So, what if I want to change stroke suddenly in the middle of the game? Well, you can just also switch grip mid-game because it's easy. Okay, forehand, and then I suddenly don't want to do backhand. Oh. Simple, forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand. If you master this fundamental, then you will have a better chance at winning, or a better chance at improving your skills in badminton. Okay, so next in this video, we will be talking about stances. So stances basically refers to the positioning of your body, or how you form your body while playing badminton. So there are three different stances, namely attack stance, defensive stance, and the net stance. All of these are used in different situations in the badminton, and I will be explaining those later on. But before we start, a little terminology first. When we refer to racket foot or racket hand, it is the side where you are holding your badminton racket. So if you are holding your racket in your right hand, or the racket is in your right side, then your racket hand is your right hand, and your racket foot is your right foot. But if you're holding it in your left hand, then your racket hand is your left hand, and your racket foot is your left foot accordingly. You know, it is usually, if you are right-handed, then your racket hand would be right. If you're left-handed, then your racket hand would be left. But it depends upon you. Anything is okay. So now let's start first with the attack stance. Attack stance is used whenever you feel like you can really hit hard or like give out a strong attack to your opponent. It is usually done overhead, but we are talking about the stance here. So attack stance, you will have your racket foot behind, so like your body is slightly sidewards, and your racket foot, for my case, my racket foot is my right foot, so I will put it behind, and so is my right hand behind, so that my racket hand will be behind. And if I need to balance, then I will raise my hand, my non-racket hand accordingly for balance purposes only. So, and this is the attack stance. I will raise it. I will attack. If you need to jump, then jump. That's the basics of the attack stance. Now for the defensive stance, it is used when you feel like your enemy is doing the strong attack. Now, you can't do defense in this position. In the attack stance, you will be facing one side of the court, right? So what if your opponent attacks to the other side? Do you still have time to twist your body, to change direction of your body? No. So when you do a defensive stance, or when you feel like your opponent is about to do a strong attack, then you need to defend. So your body will be facing forward, all foot will be facing forward, and I forgot to mention this in the previous stance, but the distance between your foot should be at least shoulder length, or how wide your shoulder is. This is for better balance purposes. And you do this. When you play sport, you don't usually just stand straight, because that hinders you from running immediately when you need to run around the court. So you usually do this: crouch a little bit, bend your knees a little bit, so, and then raise your racket a little bit, facing forward. Okay, so that when the shuttlecock comes to you, just see, not much difficulty. If you need to move to the side, just do a side step. Easy. Now if you feel like you will be out of balance while doing this stance, which usually is not the case, but if you feel like you're out of balance, you can just raise your hand to raise your non-racket hand to balance yourself. Okay, so that's for the defensive stance. Now let's move on to the net stance. Now what is the net stance? We already discussed the attack and the defensive stance. So what is the net stance? So there will be instances where you will need to go close to the net of the badminton, because there will be times that you will assume that the opponent will drop the shuttlecock near the net, or if you are doing a doubles badminton, it's the usual technique that is one of you would stay near the net and one would stay behind near the end of the court. So if you are standing near the net, there is a specific stance that you are to do so that you could play, or so that you could actually score well. So this is called the net stance. It's quite a bit of an opposite of the attack stance, because if you remember, in the attack stance, your racket hand and racket foot is behind of your body. But in the net stance, it's in the front. And you don't usually face sidewards like in the attack stance. In the net stance, you just like that, ready to run, you know? And then your racket will be on the side, not really low, just waist height or slightly above the waist if you feel that's more comfortable. And then your non-racket hand, as always, would serve as a balancing tool, so that you don't go out of balance while playing badminton. Because badminton is a play where you really need to run a lot, and going out of balance would really make it hard for you to run as usual. So this is the net stance. That's it. Then you apply the grips that will be tackled in this video. And that's all. So those are the three different stances in badminton, namely the attack, defend, and the mat stance, used all in different situations in a badminton court. So for the next part of the video, we'll be talking about the footwork for beginners. So we have already tackled how to hold the racket differently depending on the type of attack you want, and how to position yourself or how to do a stance depending also on the type of attack that you want. Now we will talk about the footwork. Now before we start, what is the most important thing to have before you start playing badminton? It's the shoes.
Shoes.
Yes, you need to have a proper working shoes. Now your shoes doesn't have to be brand new. You just need the shoes where you can run freely in the court. My shoes itself has been years old, but it still works fine and I can still play badminton fine with it, so it still works efficiently for me. So now let's start with the footwork. There are three main parts: the forward movements, the side movements, and the backward movements. Now every part involves the forehand and the backhand grips of your attack. So let's first start with the first part of this footwork. Let's have the forward forehand. Now if you remember, the forehand is where your palm would be facing forward when you attack. Now for you to be able to do a forward forehand movement footwork, you first need to determine your racket, hand, and foot. Now my racket, hand, and foot is my right side, or my right hand and right foot. So for you to start moving, you can't just run immediately. No, you don't do that. You need to have a proper running footwork so that you could go back again to this position where you can just run again to the next position as fast as you can, because badminton is a running game. You need to run a lot on the court, and you need to be able to run around the court as fast as you can. Now to start the forward forehand movement or the footwork, you will first move your non-racket foot forward towards the direction. Now remember, your foot should be facing where you are running to. It shouldn't be faced forward, because that could risk to an injury, to twisting your ankle, which would be dangerous and which we wouldn't want as an athlete. When you're for the forward forehand footwork, you need first to move your non-racket foot, and then your racket foot, then attack. Again, racket foot, then wait, let me state that again. Non-racket foot, racket foot, attack. Okay? And then when you go back, you do the side step. So this is what I like to call side steps. Just like that. Okay? Again, run and side steps. Why the side steps? This is so that whenever you are still trying to go back to your original position, and then suddenly your opponent hits it again to the other side, you can immediately run again. Because if you do a different type of footwork other than side step, let's say, okay, you are running and then you try to go back, then your opponent suddenly hits towards the direction, so you're gonna run again. It would be a hassle and it would be difficult for you. So for the forward forehand movement, this is the proper footwork for the beginners. Run, hit, then side steps. Okay, so for the next, forward backhand movement. Still start with the non-racket foot. Left, right, then attack. Okay? Same with the forehand, except you are going to the non-racket hand direction, which is for me my left side because my racket hand is my right. So for the forward backhand, I will have to go to the left. So run using my left, still left foot first. Okay, left foot first. Always the left foot first. Run and then hit. Hit, 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 hit. And then when you go back, this is the last thing. Still the side steps. Okay? So again. I hope that's clear. So next would be the side footwork, or when you are moving to your sides. Let's first start with my racket side. So for me, that would be my forehand side. So again, still start with your non-racket foot, which for me would be my left foot again. Run, and then hit. Okay? Run, hit. And then when you go back, when I go back, still the side steps. Okay. Again. Run, hit, side steps. The reason is still the same for the side steps, so that you can immediately run when your opponent decides to drop it again on a different direction. Now, for the backhand side, for me that will be going to my left side, my non-racket hand side. So, still start with your left, or with your non-racket foot, and then hit. Backhand, okay? Again, non-racket foot, racket foot, then backhand. And when you go back to your original position, still the side steps. 1, 2, okay? So again, 1, 2, back, side steps. Okay. So for the final part, we will be now doing the footwork for the backward movements. So first, we have the backward forehand, or forehand backward footwork. So this is moving backward while doing the forehand strike. Okay, so to do that, I would like to do what I call, again, the side step. Others call it shuffle. I like to call it side step because I am moving sidewards, as I like to call it. So first, I need to face sideward, not entirely, but slantly. I face slant, facing the side of my racket hand. Okay, so side step, as again, side step, and then hit, or hit. And then run back to the direction of your original position. When running back to your original position, it doesn't really matter which foot you use first, as long as you get back to your original position, because your original position is where you are able to sense or run from towards your shuttlecock or the birdie. So again, for the forehand backward footwork, side step, hit, 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 then run back. Easy as that. Now for the backward backhand movement, grip, okay, remember the grip. Still side step, and then hit, 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 and then run back to your original position. Simple as that. Again, side step, and then hit, and then run back to your original position. So to recap everything, I will do all the 6 fundamental or the beginning footwork for the beginners. First up would be the forward forehand forward forehand, hit, side step, forward backhand, side step, and then the forehand side, the backhand side. Let me do that again. Backhand side. And then the forehand backward movement. And then the backhand backward movement. And that's all the fundamental footworks for the beginners. I hope you have learned a lot from my fundamental badminton skills video. And this has been John Ray Abisinga. See you soon.